Yes, Sidi, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you, Jake. It's always good to see you, albeit on Skype or whatever, Zoom or whatever it's called. And it's always good as well to hear you give us some of your wisdom. You know how we hold you in high esteem. And of course, thank all of you, and my apologies for enjoying myself in my t-shirt. I know that we are home, but nevertheless, I could be, dressed in a more appropriate way. But I was caught by Ibrahim in the last second. So my apologies to all of you, and I promise next time things will be slightly better. Now, today, by chance, I issued a lengthy paper on COVID-19. Although I'm not a doctor, of course, it was not meant as a medical paper, but as a socio-political and economic paper. It deals with COVID-19 in general, but also COVID-19 and Palestine, COVID-19 and Israel, COVID-19 internationally around the world, in some countries, specifically those who were hard hit. And there is also a section that is you could describe as personal, and then a section entitled "The World is Not the Small Village Anymore," as we used to look at it in the past or before Corona. And there is a section that tries to read the possibilities of or the impact of the virus on all of us deep in the future. And finally, the last section deals with different possibilities with regard to the virus itself, what could be the scenarios moving ahead. So I guess if anyone is interested, you can take a look at the paper, and I'm not going to try to get into the substance of the paper. I listened very carefully to what Jake said about the situation in the United States and the political aspect of it, the White House, and specifically President Trump. I share Ibrahim's view that actually looking at the situation from here, we probably see it a little bit different. Maybe it's kind of wishful thinking because we love the man, as you can imagine. So we like to see more negative aspects. For instance, yes, there was mishandling, of course. I mean, it's very hard to argue that there was 2 months delay in devising serious response by the president, with all the implications of such a delay. And then even with regard to the daily TV appearance by the president as the head of the National Emergency Committee, personally, I thought that most of these appearances were comical, frankly. The guy says something and the opposite, or says something today and then change his position next day. You could see also the difference between what he says and what experts on the panel do say, and things like that. In any case, maybe we look at it differently. The important thing, of course, is how. Nevertheless, I might say this. I think that the president is taking huge gamble at this stage, pushing for reopening of the economy. If results in increased death in certain states, I think the price will be huge. Otherwise, I agree with Jake that things will continue as it is now. Not great return to a great economy, and not huge human losses at the same time. But at this stage, at this particular moment, I think that Mr. Trump is taking huge gamble. the future and the election and things like that, as well as the possible impact on the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, again, I might look at it slightly differently, because I think the position of certain groups of the evangelicals would remain essential for President Trump. And while the conflict as a foreign matter might not be that important in the elections per se, nevertheless, it will remain very important for this group, this particular group. And President Trump might try to give them additional services in the hope that they will solidify their support for him. So that's frankly is a very important danger. Nevertheless, I generally on the local factors. How they formulate their strategy, how they go. Until now, I think Israel is in bad shape. They try to play it in a very silly manner, in spite of the silly announcements of therapeutics against corona, things like that, and of course, as a result, not for but problems. Of course, not in this bad behavior, but nevertheless, at least in our has huge problems. You have the political the division. Maybe they reached an agreement on emergency, but the divisions are very serious and could become dangerous at some of the extreme religious groups, the Haredim, and their disobedience, lack of discipline, refusal to follow the necessary pattern to fight corona. They have the presence of so many Arabs that the state doesn't like to serve them, but nevertheless, if the state doesn't serve them, they will become a big problem for Israel itself. And then they have the settlers and the settlements. This spread of the settlements across the occupied Palestinian territory and the implications of this situation that requires a pattern of behavior which is exactly the opposite of the necessary behavior to fight coronavirus. So you cannot isolate, for instance, you cannot say, okay, the green line now is the border, you don't care about the rest. They can't do that, of course, because of settlements and settlers. So they have very real and serious problems. The problem, on the other hand, that the Palestinian side is not capable until now of living up to their responsibilities and try to catch the opportunities and come up with coherent strategy to move forward. In any case, I think that the agreement between Likud and Blue and White generally involves some kind of annexation. Nevertheless, there is what I see as a hiatus, a period of 2 months at least for the Palestinian side, for other states to come wholly hard on the Israeli side to prevent such development through the necessary pressure methodological pressure on the Israeli side. The Palestinian side, nevertheless, needs also to come up with coherent positions. It's not enough to warn everybody of doom and gloom and that if you do this, things will explode. Well, threatening things is not in my mind the smartest thing to do. Unfortunately, there is lack of this kind of coherent strategy. But anyway, if we move the right way, if Arabs also support us the right way, if international community come up with pressure, maybe it is not that very desperate situation as it used to look a few months ago. Now I feel that it's slightly better. We have better opportunity, and hopefully by November, December, we will have a different man at the White House. I'll do like Jake and will not talk very long, and I leave the opportunity for everybody to contribute and to make comments or to ask questions. Thank you again to all of you.